Quoth the bloodless, red-haired and green eyes, accomplished many great feats. He started out traveling around with his troop, singing in different towns where he met Abinthy, also known as Ben. Ben took Quoth as a student and taught him magic. Quoth, as he noticed, was an unnaturally fast learner. These good times, however, came to an end when Ben left the troop and the Chandrian, a mysterious demon group, killed everyone in the troop. Quoth wandered in the woods for months, torn by his troop's death, finding his way to the Tarbean. Through his years in the Tarbean, he learned countless new things, but still was full of grief. Quoth eventually faces the facts that he needs to leave the Tarbean and attend the university where he learns magic. Once accepted to the university, Quoth makes some enemies like Ambrose and the schoolmaster, him. Today, the excellent student Quoth is going to teach us how to bind. Quoth, would you come up to the stage, please?
Thank you, Master Him. Alright, so today I'm going to cast a spell on this doll. Would you mind if I bind this to you?
Yes.
Alright. Sectrum Sempre. Okay, so I'm going to pinch right here.
Ah!
And it's going to hurt. How did that feel?
Wasn't too bad. I don't know what harm that could do.
But the danger of it is...
Ah! Ah! Get off the stage! After Quoth made fun of the Professor Him, he had to stand before the council of professors who had ruled that he deserved 3 lashings from a whip. Professor Him, however, wasn't the only one Quoth was making enemies with. Ambrose, still fuming from their first encounter, causes Quoth to break a devastating rule that gets him banned from the archives, his only source of learning outside of classes. Seeking a source of funding for the school's tuition, Quoth heads to a local tavern called the Eloian. There he plans to play the beloved lute and win himself a patron. He does not, however, find a patron. Instead, he finds a young woman named Denna. Quoth is immediately love-stricken for her and requests to see her again. As Quoth lived in the university, his reputation grew. One day he was working on a project when all of a sudden a very flammable liquid caught fire and the room burst into flames. Everyone was able to evacuate the building except for one girl who had become trapped. It was that then Quoth braved the flames and carried her out of the fire. A couple of days later, Quoth was walking down his street to his room when 2 men wielding knives attacked him. Despite being weaponless, Quoth blinded them with an element from the artifactory. He later finds that the 2 men were hired killers sent from Ambrose. Next, Quoth goes on a wild goose chase after demon people who killed his parents. What he found, however, was not demon people, but a Dracus, similar to a dragon, but it did not eat meat. Quoth eventually had to kill the Dracus to save a nearby town. It was where Quoth finally came back that Ambrose struck his last nerve. Ambrose broke his lute in the middle of the park.
So, have you danced any women lately?
I woo all the ladies of the land, like Dina and Florin. You ought to see their faces when they see me play.
Do you only use your lute to do that?
No, I use my voice. They love it. Hey, put that down.
Don't worry, Quoth. I won't break it. I just want to figure out how you woo all the women. of
Put
the
it
land.
down. Give it to me. No! Little
After the conflict between Ambrose and Quoth, both were to be punished. Quoth was to be expelled, but was not punished fully by the counselor's request. The counselor decided to let Quoth have 6 lashings before taking him in as his student. Quoth told me how his legend started and shared many great stories that he would not share with others.